The afternoon rain had turned the streets of Portland silver and quiet when Laura Benson arrived home earlier than usual. Her office had closed because of the storm, and all she wanted was to curl up with tea and silence. The house, as always, greeted her with stillness, that kind that comes when children grow up and start living their own lives. Her son Ethan was 21 now, a college student with a kind heart and an absent-minded nature. He'd said he'd be at the university library until evening. So she was surprised to find his bedroom door open and the faint scent of detergent in the air. A half-full laundry basket sat in the hallway. It was such an ordinary sight, yet it pulled a soft smile from her. She had spent years picking up after him the shoes scattered by the door, the mugs left half empty near his desk, the crumpled t-shirts thrown on the floor. It used to frustrate her when he was younger, but now, seeing those little signs of his presence filled her with warmth. The house felt less lonely when it was messy because at least it meant he was still around. Laura picked up the basket, meaning only to help. She'd done it 100 times before. As she sorted through his clothes, she found herself thinking about how fast everything had changed. It felt like only yesterday she was reminding a boy to wear his jacket or finish his cereal before school. Now she was watching him grow into a man, one with his own opinions, his own world. A wave of pride mixed with quiet sadness rolled through her chest. Her hands moved quickly through the pile, socks, shirts, jeans, until something heavy and small dropped onto the wooden floor with a soft thud. She frowned and bent down, expecting to see a coin or keys. Instead, her fingers brushed against a small velvet box. She froze. For a moment, her mind went blank. She turned the box over in her palm, elegant dark blue, the kind used for jewelry. Her first thought was that Ethan must have bought something for a girlfriend, perhaps. He rarely talked about his personal life. The idea made her heart twist, part joy, part ache. She'd always known the day would come when someone else became the center of his world. But she hadn't expected it to sting quite like this. Then she noticed a folded sticky note pressed against the box. In Ethan's neat handwriting were 2 words that stopped her breath. For Mom. Her chest tightened. Slowly, carefully, she lifted the lid. Inside was a silver locket, delicate and shining softly in the light that spilled through the rain-streaked window. On the surface, engraved in tiny letters, were the words, "You were my first love and always will be." Laura's hand trembled. The room around her blurred. In that instant, every year, every memory, every sacrifice she'd made since the day her husband left came rushing back. She remembered the nights she'd stayed up late sewing his costumes for school plays. The mornings she'd packed his lunch with handwritten notes. The birthdays she'd tried to make special even when money was tight. She remembered the tears she never let him see. The promises she made to herself that no matter what life took away, her son would never feel unloved. Now, this tiny box hidden in his jeans pocket told her he had noticed a tear slip down her cheek before she even realized she was crying. She wasn't someone who broke easily. Life had made her strong, practical. But this small token undid her. It wasn't about the locket. It was what it meant. Gratitude, love, a bond unspoken but deeply understood. Just then, she heard the sound of keys in the front door. Her heart leaped. She quickly wiped her face, still holding the box. A moment later, Ethan stepped inside, dripping from the rain, his hood half down and his hair damp. "Mom, you're home early," he said, surprised. Hanging his jacket on the chair, Laura tried to smile, though emotion still trembled in her voice. "The office closed because of the storm. She lifted the box slightly. "Doing your laundry." Ethan's eyes widened. His expression shifted between shock and guilt, and then something softer. "You found it?" "I didn't mean to," she said quickly, her voice small. "It just fell out. I saw my name on it. I thought, well, I wasn't sure what it was." He gave a nervous chuckle, rubbing the back of his neck. "It was supposed to be a surprise. For your birthday next week." Throat tightened again. "Ethan, it's beautiful." He stepped closer, his shoes squeaking slightly from the rain. "I wanted to give it to you at dinner. I even booked a place. You always talk about that little Italian restaurant near the river, so—" He trailed off, embarrassed. Like a child caught confessing a secret, Laura stared at him, this grown man who still blushed when he did something kind. The same boy who used to hold her hand crossing the street, who once said he'd marry her when he grew up because she was the nicest girl in the world. She felt an ache of tenderness so strong it almost hurt. "I don't deserve this," she whispered. "Yes, you do," he said firmly. "You deserve everything good in the world." She wanted to hug him right there, but something in his eyes stopped her. There was gratitude, yes, but also a quiet sadness. He looked as though he was holding back something else. "Ethan," she said softly, "what's wrong?" He hesitated. "It's nothing. Just something I've been meaning to tell you. But maybe later." "No," she said gently. "Tell me now." He sighed, his shoulders dropping. "You know how I've been working at the university art studio? I got that job last semester. Course. You've told me a little about it. Well," he smiled faintly, "the truth is, this locket isn't just a gift. It's part of a project. We had to design something that shows the person who taught us what love means. Everyone picked someone different, friends, partners, even teachers. But for me, it was always you." Laura felt her breath catch again. He went on quietly, his words steady but emotional. "When Dad left, I didn't understand what love was supposed to look like. But you showed me. You worked 2 jobs, never complained, never let me see how tired you were. You kept smiling. You made sure I never felt broken. That's what love is to me, not just romance, but staying when things fall apart." Tears filled her eyes again, heavier this time. "Ethan, you have no idea what that means to hear." He smiled, almost shyly. "You don't have to say anything. I just wanted you to know." They stood there in the soft quiet of his room, the sound of rain fading to a whisper. Laura looked at her son, not the boy she raised, but the man he had become. And for the first time, she saw him not as someone she needed to protect, but as someone who now carried a piece of her strength inside him. She opened the locket again, tracing the engraved words with her thumb. "You were my first love and always will be." Her voice trembled when she said, "It's perfect." Ethan's eyes brightened, relief flickering across his face. "I'm glad you like it. I wanted to make something you'd actually wear, not just keep in a drawer." "Oh, I'll wear it," she said softly. "Every day." He laughed under his breath, and for a moment they both smiled, a rare, quiet smile that came from deep understanding. But then Ethan shifted slightly, his tone turning more serious again. "Mom, there's one more thing." Laura looked up, alert. "What is it?" He hesitated, glancing at the window where the rain shimmered in the fading light. "It's not bad, I promise. But I didn't know how to tell you. I've been offered a year abroad and internship in Toronto. It's part of my program. It's everything I've worked for." Her heart dropped. For a second, she didn't speak. She wanted to be happy for him. She was, but the thought of him being so far away made her chest ache. When she asked quietly, "Next month," he said, watching her carefully. "I didn't want to tell you until it was official. I thought maybe the gift would make it easier." Laura swallowed hard, trying to steady her voice. "Oh, sweetheart, I'm so proud of you." He frowned slightly. "You're not upset." She smiled through her tears. "Of course I'll miss you. But love isn't about holding someone back. It's about letting them grow, even if it hurts a little." He nodded, emotion flashing in his eyes. Then he stepped forward and hugged her. It was a long, warm hug, one that said all the words neither could find. When they finally pulled apart, Laura looked at him and said softly, "Thank you for showing me what's in your heart." He smiled, eyes shining. "You found it before I could give it. Guess it runs in the family, curiosity." Laura laughed, wiping her tears. "Maybe it does." As he went to change out of his wet clothes, she stood for a moment, still holding the locket. The rain had stopped outside, leaving the air cool and bright. She realized that what she had found in his jeans pocket wasn't just a piece of jewelry. It was proof that love, real love, never fades. It grows, changes, and comes back around in the most unexpected ways. That evening, as she placed the locket around her neck, she whispered to herself, almost smiling, "What I saw in my son's pants didn't blind me. It opened my eyes." Okay? And somewhere in the quiet house, the sound of the rain gave way to peace. The evening sun filtered softly through the rain-streaked windows as Laura Benson sat in Ethan's room, the silver locket resting lightly against her chest. She still couldn't believe the surprise she had stumbled upon earlier. Her heart had been racing all day, filled with pride, love, and an unexpected tenderness. She had thought she understood her son, but now she realized there were layers to him she had never seen, quiet, deep, and thoughtful. Ethan leaned against the doorframe, drying his hair with a towel. He seemed younger than his age for a moment, almost like the boy she used to chase around the living room when he was 5, his laughter ringing through the house. She remembered how fragile he had seemed back then, and now she saw him fully grown, carrying both his own dreams and a gratitude that seemed almost too big for someone so young. "You know," he began softly, "I wasn't sure if you'd like it. The locket, I mean." Laura smiled, brushing a strand of damp hair from her forehead. "Ethan, it's perfect. More than perfect. It means more than you could ever imagine." He shifted, nervous, his hands fiddling with the edge of the towel. "I just wanted to show you something important. Something I haven't said before, even though I should have." Laura leaned forward, curiosity and concern mingling. "Tell me. I'm listening." He took a deep breath. "Mom, you've always been my guide. The way you handled life after Dad left. The way you never let me feel abandoned. It shaped everything about me. And now I realize I need to say it out loud." She blinked, a lump forming in her throat. "Ethan, I've been thinking a lot about love lately," he continued. "Not just romantic love, but the kind that shapes a person. The kind that teaches you patience, kindness, respect. You've given me that every day, and I wanted to make sure you know it." Laura felt her chest tighten. She had spent so many years trying to be strong for him, never expecting acknowledgement, never seeking thanks. Yet here he was, expressing a gratitude so pure it made her feel almost undone. "I don't even know what to say," she whispered. "You don't have to say anything," he replied, his voice gentle. "I just want you to know how much you've influenced my life, how much you've given me without even realizing it." For a few moments, silence filled the room. Not awkward, but full of unspoken memories, shared laughter, and the invisible threads that connected them. Laura reached out and took his hand, feeling the warmth and reassurance that had always been there, only now seen in a different light. "I remember when you were little," she said softly, "how scared you were of thunderstorms. You'd hide under the blanket and I'd have to stay with you, rubbing your back until you fell asleep." She laughed quietly, the memory vivid and heartwarming. "And now here you are, all grown up, facing the world on your own." Ethan smiled, a faint blush coloring his cheeks. "I guess some fears stay with you in different ways. But the difference is, now I have someone to teach me how to be brave." "You did that, Mom. You still do." Laura felt tears prick at her eyes. She hadn't realized how much she needed to hear these words. They weren't just about pride, they were about connection, about understanding, about love that transcended time and circumstances. "You know, Ethan," she said, after a pause, finding that box. "It wasn't just a surprise. It reminded me of everything we've been through together. Every late night, every small victory, every time you needed me, and I was there. I think I've forgotten to see those moments as treasures until now." He nodded slowly. "I wanted you to see it like that. I didn't want it to be just another gift. I wanted it to be meaningful. Something you'd carry with you, not just in a drawer, but in your heart." Laura smiled through the tears. "It already is, sweetheart. You've made it more than just a locket. You've made it a memory, a reminder, a piece of our story." The quiet between them felt comforting. Rain had stopped outside, leaving the air crisp and calm. Laura noticed how the evening light made everything look softer, warmer. It felt like the world had paused to honor this small Perfect moment between mother and son. Ethan glanced at her, a little hesitant. There's something else too, he admitted. Laura's curiosity sharpened. What is it? He swallowed, then said, I've been given an opportunity, a year-long internship in Toronto. It's part of my program. It's a big step for me, and I didn't know how to tell you. Laura's heart skipped a beat. Excitement and worry collided. She was thrilled for him, proud of his achievements, but the thought of him being so far away made her chest ache. She took a deep breath. Oh, Ethan, I'm proud of you. Truly, you've worked hard for this. It's everything you've dreamed of. He looked at her, searching her eyes. You're not upset? Laura shook her head slowly. No, love isn't about holding someone back. It's about letting them grow, even if it hurts. I'll miss you, yes, but I'll also celebrate every moment you achieve. A small smile appeared on Ethan's face. Thank you, Mom. That means more than I can explain. They shared a long, quiet hug, the kind that carried years of shared experiences, love, and understanding. It was a hug that didn't need words because it expressed everything that mattered: pride, gratitude, and unspoken care when they pulled apart. Laura adjusted the locket around her neck again, feeling the silver cool against her skin. She realized it wasn't just a piece of jewelry anymore. It was a symbol of their journey, the hardships, the joy, the laughter, and the love that had bound them together. Ethan, she said softly, you've given me the most beautiful gift. Not the locket itself, but the thought behind it. The way you see me, the way you carry our story with you. That's what I'll treasure forever. He smiled, a mixture of relief and happiness shining through. I'm glad you understand. That was the hardest part, making sure it said what I wanted without words. I wanted you to feel it. Laura took his hands in hers. I do more than you can imagine. And now I see it every time I look at this locket. Every time I wear it, I'll remember this moment, this conversation, this feeling. Ethan laughed softly, a sound that reminded her of bedtime stories and rainy afternoons long ago. I'm happy it worked then. I was nervous you might think it was silly. Not at all, she said, her voice steady. It's perfect, just like you. For a while they sat together, talking quietly about ordinary things: school, friends, small plans for the weekend. But beneath the surface, there was a sense of completeness neither had felt before. It wasn't just a conversation about a gift or an opportunity abroad. It was a reaffirmation of their bond, a reminder that love could be expressed in quiet, unexpected ways. As the evening progressed, Laura thought about the journey they had shared. Every struggle, every triumph, every simple act of care had led them here. She realized that she had always been teaching Ethan about love, not through lectures or advice, but through action, through showing up, listening, supporting, and never giving up. And now he had reflected that love back to her in a way that was tangible and moving. I'll miss you when you go, Laura admitted quietly. But I'm so proud of you, Ethan. You've grown into a thoughtful, kind man. You're ready for this next chapter. He nodded, emotion flashing in his eyes. I'll miss you too, Mom. But I'll carry everything you've given me with me. You've prepared me for this, even when I didn't know it. Laura smiled, feeling a sense of peace she hadn't realized she needed. The locket glimmered in the evening light, a small silver reminder of love, growth, and connection. She placed her hand over it again, breathing in the quiet calm of the house. In that moment, she understood something profound. What she had seen in Ethan's pants that afternoon, the locket, the note, the thoughtfulness hadn't blinded her. It had illuminated a truth that had been there all along. Love wasn't just about protection or guidance or even recognition. It was about presence, care, the quiet understanding that actions often speak louder than words. And as Ethan stood by the window, looking out at the city lights glistening after the rain, Laura knew that whatever challenges lay ahead, college, work, distance, and life itself, their bond would remain unbroken. She slipped the locket under her blouse, holding it close. Thank you, Ethan, she whispered to herself. Thank you for showing me how love grows and returns in ways I never expected. Ethan turned, catching her gaze. Their eyes met, And in that quiet, unspoken exchange, both of them understood something beautiful. Love was not about control or possession. It was about recognition, gratitude, and the strength to let someone shine, even if it meant watching them walk a path that didn't include you physically. The rain had stopped entirely, leaving the night calm and still. Laura felt a soft warmth in her chest, a sense of completion mingled with anticipation. She smiled at her son, realizing that this was just the beginning of another journey, one that they would navigate together. Hearts connected even across miles. And as Ethan finally left to unpack his things, Laura touched the locket one last time, feeling the weight of its significance. It was more than a gift. It was love, fully expressed, and it had changed the way she saw her son and herself forever.